Gremlins go up against the Calumet Copper Kings. That's Houghton against Calumet, next time on High School Bowl.
Stay tuned for the excitement of High School Bowl, coming up next.
Presentation.
Production funding for High School Bowl is provided in part by the Mead Corporation. WNMU TV presents High School Bowl. Today's contest brings together the Houghton Gremlins and the Calumet Copper Kings. Now here's your host, Dave Goldsmith.
Thank you and welcome to High School Bowl. The Copper Country takes over our show this week as the Houghton Gremlins go up against the Calumet Copper Kings. The Gremlins are rebuilding after a 1986 championship and a runner-up role last year. Calumet has 2 seniors, a junior, and a sophomore on its squad. There's a possible second-round match with Hancock down the road, so each team has added incentive to win this week. Let's meet our teams. We'll begin with Houghton.
I'm Colin Jenkins. I'm a sophomore.
Aaron Carter, sophomore.
Dean Lee, a senior and team captain.
Trent Reynolds, a sophomore.
Those are the Gremlins. Now let's meet their opponents, the Copper Kings.
Karen O'Connell, junior.
Don Mondoli, senior. David Ellis, senior and team captain.
Carrie Ellis, sophomore.
And those are our scholars for this week. And here are the coaches. Houghton's coach is Nancy Klingbeil. Calumet's is Barbara Simila-Griebel. And the alternates. Houghton's alternates are Jason Rose and Brendan Givens. Calumet's is Matt Burton. Our scorekeeper for High School Bowl is Gene Olson. Our judge is Dr. Lowell Newdeck, professor of biology, Northern Michigan University. And there's the buzzer to begin this game. Good luck to both teams. You're playing for a 20-point bonus. Here's your toss-up. It's another name for a lynx. It's a...
Cougar?
Carrie?
Cougar?
No, cougar is not right. Sorry, that's an interrupt. Will cost you 5. Houghton, it's a kind of labor strike also. And it's a kind of oil well. Lee?
Wildcat?
Wildcat for 10 points. Here's your bonus, Houghton. C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, E sharp, F, F sharp, G, G sharp is an example of a musical scale that progresses by half tones. For 20 points, what do we usually call the scale that progresses this way? 10 seconds to confer and get Dean an answer. What kind of scale?
Chromatic scale?
Chromatics. Chromatic. He did say chromatic, didn't he? You got it. 20 points. Sorry, I cut off the end of that answer. His most famous work opens, I think that I shall never see, and concludes, only God can make a tree. For 10 points, teams, who is it? Jenkins.
Joyce Kilmer.
Joyce Kilmer for 10 points, right. Was that the senior Colin Jenkins that answered that, or the sophomore?
I'm a sophomore.
Good, all right. Doesn't matter as long as you get the questions right. 20-point bonus again, Gremlins. The pull of the moon and the sun creates the tides of Earth. For 10 points apiece, identify the following tides. First, the high monthly tide when the sun and moon are in line. 5 seconds for each part of this one. Time is up. Dean?
Synchrony. Synchrony.
Okay, here's your second part. The low monthly tide produced when the sun, moon, and earth form a right angle. Time and tide wait for no man. And time is up.
An ebb?
Ebb tide, no. First one was the spring tide. The second one is the neap tide, N-E-A-P. No bonus points to the Gremlins. In linear measure, 12 inches make a foot. For 10 points, teams, what other unit of linear measure is some 6 trillion miles long? Lee.
A light year?
A light year, right. A light year. Another 20-point bonus, Houghton. The 1939 Pulitzer Prize for Fiction was awarded to Marjorie Kinnan Rawlins for her novel about a year in the life of a young boy named Jody. During the course of the story, Jody finds a young deer, which he raises and comes to love, and which his father orders him to shoot. For 20 points, Gremlins, what's the title of the story?
The Yearling.
It is The Yearling, and you've got 20 points. I think we have Trent to thank for that answer. All right. He had toyed with the idea of renting a helicopter and dumping thousands of pages of classified documents over downtown Los Angeles, but finally decided to turn them over to the New York Times for 10 points, who released these Pentagon Papers. Pentagon Papers, famous 1970s political scandal nobody remembers, Daniel Ellsberg. Quote, "The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak," end quote. For 10 points, to which of his disciples was Jesus speaking when he spoke those words? Lee.
Peter.
To Simon Peter, right, for 10. The flesh is willing, but the spirit is weak. For some reason, I'm trying to save the cards this week. We don't save them, we give them to Igor. 25-point bonus, Gremlins. In the 1762 Battle of Havana, 11,000 British troops laid siege to the Cuban capital and finally captured it after 2 months of fighting. For 25 points, of what worldwide war was this battle a part? 1762. A worldwide war. Time is up. Dean, do you have an answer?
The 7 Years' War.
It was exactly the 7 Years' War, right, for 25 points. Good job. If that was a guess, it was an awfully good guess. The 7 Years' War, or as we called it here, the French and Indian War. This twin-engine propeller plane has hauled more freight and carried more passengers than any aircraft in history. Jenkins.
DC-3.
And it's the DC-3. You're right. The famous DC-3, or as it's known in the military, the C-47, and they're still flying. Here's your bonus, Gremlins. It's an audio question. It's worth 20 points, so listen carefully and let your minds drift off into space. This piece of music comes from a science fiction movie directed by Stanley Kubrick. For 20 points, I want you to name the movie. Time is up. Musical interlude is over. What were you playing, tic-tac-toe up there? Dean, what's the answer?
2001: A Space Odyssey.
That's the answer. You've got 20 points. Chairman Mao's revolutionary thoughts were condensed in his Little Red Book. For 10 points, what current Libyan leader's revolutionary thoughts? Dave.
Muammar Gaddafi.
Muammar Gaddafi is right. In his Little Green Book. Little Green Book. Hope you have a little black book. 20-point bonus. We measure apples and wheat in bushels for 10 points each. What items in particular were or are measured by the following units? First, a carat. Dave?
Jewelry.
Jewelry, stones, gold, right. Second, a cord.
Wood.
Wood is right. You've got 20 points. They make these questions up in New York. They don't know about cords of wood the way we do up here. Dr. Thomas Walker discovered it near Middleborough, Kentucky, and Daniel Boone's Wilderness Road. Dave.
The Cumberland Gap.
It's the Cumberland Gap, right. The Cumberland Gap. Famous space between David Letterman's teeth. 20-point bonus, Calumet. This title has been held by Angelo Roncalli, Giovanni Montini, Albino Luciani, and presently by Karol Wojtyła. For 20 points, what's the title? Time is up, I'm afraid, Dave.
Poet laureate of Italy.
No, the Pope. It was John Paul the 23rd, Paul the 6th, John Paul the 1st, and the current John Paul the 3rd. They're all popes. For 10 points, name the 20th century novel that includes references to Tristram, Isolde, Vico, Adam, Jonathan Swift, and Finnegan. The big clue was the last one, Finnegan's Wake by James Joyce, which you would not, of course, read in high school. The Magna Carta was signed by King John in 1215. The site of the signing?
Runnymede.
Again?
Runnymede.
It was at Runnymede, right. Right for 10 points. Sorry for laughing. They have sight spelled wrong on the question. S-I-G-H-T. We all know it's C-I-T-E, don't we? 30-point bonus, Copper Kings. It raised hackles both here in Moscow. ABC TV's 14-hour February 1987 miniseries, that is, for 10 points each. First, I'm sure you know its title, so spell it. Dave?
A-M-E-R-I-K-A.
Right, it's got a K in it. Okay, you got 10 points. Now for another 10. The Nebraska town where it was filmed shares its name with an Indian chief. Name it or him.
Geronimo.
Sorry, it was Tecumseh. Finally, two of America's favorites starred in it. Name either one. Time is up again. Dave?
Richard Chamberlain.
Chris Christopherson or Robert Urich. You got one right for 10 points. Okay, Calumet's catching up here. For a quick 10, teams, what Washington, D.C. building would you be in if you were in Statuary Hall? Dave?
The Supreme Court building.
No, not right. Sorry. Houghton, you'll have to buzz if you want it. Otherwise, I drop it. Lee?
The Capitol?
The Capitol for 10 points. You got it. There's a statuary hall in the Capitol, and here's a 25-point bonus. He was born in Scotland. Commissioned in the Continental Navy, he captured 16 ships as commander of the Providence and then commanded the sloop Ranger, carrying out a series of raids on the British. His greatest feat was the capture of the Serapis. After the Revolution, he was a rear admiral in the Russian Navy under Catherine the Great. For 25 points, Houghton, name him. A lot of very helpful clues, right? Dean?
John Paul Jones.
John Paul Jones for 25. He's the one who said, "Damn the torpedoes, Gridley, don't fire until you see the whites of their eyes in full speed ahead." Bear Bryant is no longer the winningest coach in college football for 10 points. Dave?
Eddie Robinson.
He's Eddie Robinson, right, for 10. Eddie Robinson of Grambling College. Very good interrupt. Here's a 30-point bonus possible. Sherlock Holmes was the creation of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. For 10 points each, Copper Kings, give me the creators of these other experts of detection. First, Miss Marple.
Agatha Christie.
Right. Second, Nero Wolfe. Time's up.
Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
That was Rex Stout. Finally, Father Brown. Time is up, Dave.
No answer.
G.K. Chesterton. One right for 10 points to the Copper Kings. I'm sure you've all written term papers, so you know what E.G. means, for example. For 10 points, teams, what does I.E. Carrie?
Example.
Again?
For example.
No, I.E. does not mean for example. I'm sorry. Houghton, you'll have to buzz if you want it. Carter?
In example?
No. E.G. means for example. I.E. is id est, or that is. Sorry, neither team knew that one. There's the buzzer. The first half is over. Houghton leads it 170 to 75. And now here's our important weekly message from Bruce Turner.
Thank you, Dave. High School Bowl is the copyrighted format of College Bowl Company Incorporated. This program may not be reproduced in whole or part without the expressed written consent of the College Bowl Company Incorporated.
Thank you, Bruce. Our audience this week in the studio consists of 4th and 5th graders from Vandenboom School. They're here with their teachers Ruth Ranta and Debbie Vizzetti. Welcome to you all. Oh, okay, it's halftime. Time for everybody to relax. Got a good game here. Calumet started slowly, but they've really been catching up there toward the end. So we're going to talk to our teams and find out what their plans are for the future. We're going to begin with Houghton and Colin Jenkins. I'm sorry, Colin. What are your plans, Colin?
I plan to go to college. I'd like to get an engineering degree.
Got a college picked out?
Not yet. I'm still a little early.
But you've decided what you want to do after you graduate from college. You want to get a
Yeah, either engineering degree or possibly Air Force career.
the Rhodes Scholarship.
Yeah, I'd like to get a Rhodes Scholarship.
What do you do with a Rhodes Scholarship?
You go to Oxford for 2 years and study there, and you have a possibility of getting a third year study, undergraduate study.
Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. Okay, Aaron Carter, who's a sophomore.
Yes.
What's ahead for you, Aaron?
Well, I'm a sophomore. I enjoy swimming. I like to read, cook, go on walks, ride my bike.
You were a lifeguard,
Yes, I am a lifeguard. Presently, I'm employed by Sumi College on weekends.
and you talk to your family in Spanish?
Yes, a little bit. I like to drive them nuts.
Okay. The captain, Dean Lee.
Oh, well, I plan to go to either East Coast or West Coast college, maybe where my brother went,
Where did your brother go?
to Harvard. And after that, perhaps graduate school, do research in some area of science.
Want to list just one or two of the many honors you've won?
I've been competing in several math competitions. I've done pretty well in some.
Those of you who've watched the show for a number of years, it's not a mirage. That's Dean Lee, not Dan Lee. They look enough alike to be twins. Finally, Trent Reynolds, who was a freshman on the team last year and is a sophomore this year.
Yes, I'd like to go to college, get a job, and eventually try my hand at writing fiction.
You want to be a novelist?
I don't think I could be a novelist professionally, but maybe just
A short story writer?
I'd like to write novels, but not for a living. Just
Don't sell yourself short. You may be able to do it. Try it first anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, those are the Gremlins. Now we're going to talk to their opponents, the Copper Kings. We'll start with Karen O'Connell.
Yeah, I'd like to go to college and do something with sports medicine or athletic training.
Do you have a college picked out?
I'd like to go to University of Michigan.
Where?
University of Michigan.
And after you graduate, what do you want to do?
Either coach or something with athletic training.
What's your favorite sport?
Basketball.
Basketball. All right. We'll have some basketball games for you up here pretty soon. Dan Mandoli.
I plan on going to college, a four-year public university, and going to business or finance.
You're on the cross-country team at Calumet.
Yes, I've been on a cross-country team for all my high school, and this year I'm co-captain.
Good, good. How are you doing?
We're having a pretty good season. Got a good shot at the UP champs this year.
All right, good. The captain and the only returning player for Calumet, Dave Ellis.
I'd like to go on to Michigan State and study telecommunications, possibly television broadcasting as a more specific field.
Here's a chance for you to practice. Say, hi, I'm Dave Ellis, host of Public TB13's High School Bowl.
Hi, I'm Dave Ellis, host of TB13's High School Bowl.
Very good. How about that? He does that better than I do. Is it true that you're injury prone?
Very injury prone. I've had everything from tendonitis in my knee to getting a skate through my ankle to anything.
I want you to be very careful when you get up out of that seat after the show. Get the lawyers ready. Okay, and you must be Dave's sister, Carrie Ellis.
I plan on going to college and maybe getting into physical therapy. I'm not sure which one I'm going to go to yet.
And you're a sophomore, right?
Yeah.
And you were at Northwestern University?
Yeah, for 3 weeks I took a biology course. It was 5 hours a day. It was a lot of fun.
That's great. It's always a good idea to get some college experience when you're still in high school. It really helps, so you're not so afraid when you get there, for one thing. Okay, I've had a good time talking to our players from this week. And there's the buzzer. The second half is upon us. It's 170 Houghton, 75 Calumet. Here we go. Mata Hari spied for the Germans for 10 points. For whom did the beautiful Belle Boyd spy? Carrie.
the Confederacy.
The Confederacy, right, for 10. This could put you over 100. Years before James Maxwell finally unified electricity and magnetism, a Danish and British physicist respectively discovered that an electric current generates a changing magnetic field, and that a changing magnetic field induces an electric current. For 20 points, name one, or for 30 points, name both of these early observers of electromagnetism. Two scientists we want. Time is up. Dave?
Ohm?
And?
No answer.
Hans Christian Ørsted and Michael Faraday. Sorry. The final, complete, corrected, and amended edition of this notoriously typo-plagued classic was released in June 1986 as part of the annual Bloomsday celebration in Dublin. For 10 points, name this enigmatic 1922 novel. Reynolds.
Ulysses.
Ulysses, right, for 10 points. Ulysses by James Joyce. That's so many errors, they finally got it corrected 74 years later. 20-point bonus, Houghton. This American economist outlined his view that products are more determined by producer choice than by consumer choice in a 1967 book entitled The New Industrial State. For 20 points, name its economist author. Dean, not ready yet? Okay, you've got time. Is that true, Lowell? It's not what we want, it's what they want to sell us?
Greenspan?
No, John Kenneth Galbraith. Galbraith. It swims in a vertical position and has a grasping tail. Dave.
Seahorse?
Seahorse, right. Okay, Calumet refuses to fold. 20-point bonus, visual question, so look closely at the monitor. Rodin created this sculpture in 1880. Over 100 years later, it's still recognized for its expression and precision cuts. Can you name it?
The Thinker?
It's The Thinker, right, for 20. Captains, if you want to answer those bonuses before I get finished asking them, just let me know with eye contact and I'll let you answer if you want to save time. In the summer of 1969, Arlo Guthrie reported that due to massive traffic jams, the New York Thruway is closed, man. Dave.
The Woodstock Festival?
The Woodstock Festival, right, for 10. For a quick 10 apiece, Calumet, identify these terms containing the word point. First, the temperature at which a vapor begins to deposit as a liquid.
Condensation point?
We'll go to the judge for that in a minute. Second, a certain Long Island oyster. Time is up, Dave.
Clam point?
No, that's blue point. Third, the color of a Siamese cat other than blue point. Time is up, Dave.
White point?
I would accept seal, chocolate, lilac, frost, lavender, or red, but not white. I'm sorry. Now, the first answer I have is dew point. Would you accept condensation point?
No.
So, you won't? Okay, sorry, Calumet, no points on that bonus. The dictionary defines it as emotional or psychic energy derived from primitive biological urges and usually goal-directed. For 10 points, did Freud call it id, ego, or libido? Ellis.
Id?
Is not right. Houghton. Lee.
The, ego.
No, it was the other one, the libido. The libido, the youth of the 60s listened to their libidos and only to their libidos. The luxury liner Queen Elizabeth II was called into service in the Falklands War. An even ritzier ship was more recently called in to evacuate foreigners trapped in war-torn South Yemen. For 10 points, name this ship, Britain's Royal Yacht. O'Connell. No, sorry, that's not right, Karen. Houghton, Britain's Royal Yacht goes down to destruction, the Britannia. Hail, Britannia. Vice President Aaron Burr slew the first Secretary of the Treasury. Dave.
Alexander Hamilton?
He was Alexander Hamilton, right. Okay, this 30-point bonus could put you awfully close. Muhammad Ali is the first fighter to thrice win the world's heavyweight championship. He's also the first fighter to lose 3 heavyweight championship fights. For 10 points apiece, name the 3 boxers who beat him. Checking with the boxing expert, Karen O'Connell. And Dave, your time is up. I need 3 boxers' names.
George Foreman, Leon Spinks, and Larry Holmes.
Leon Spinks, Larry Holmes, Joel Frazier was the third, but you got 2 right for 20 points. Shylock's servant and the chief of knights of the Round Table share a common name. For 10 points, what is it? Dave.
Lancelot?
It is Lancelot. Okay, this could put you ahead. I'm going to read 3 statements contained in a book published in the mid-1920s. If you name the book after the first statement, you'll get 30 points, 20 after the second, and so on. First, every great movement on this globe owes its rise to the great speakers and not the great writers.
The Great Gatsby?
Okay, this is worth 20. The world is not intended for cowardly nations. Time is up. Dave?
Ulysses?
Here's your last clue for 10 points. Germany will be either a world power or will not be at all.
Mein Kampf?
Mein Kampf for 10 points. Mein Kampf by Adolf Hitler. This branch of science deals with the chemical transformation of inorganic and organic compounds, thus forming a link between the living and non-living worlds. Lee?
Biochemistry?
It's biochemistry for 10. Okay, this could give you a little breathing space. Despite its name, the Caspian Sea is considered the largest lake in the world. For 10 points apiece, name the next 3 largest lakes. It is the largest lake in volume. Time is up. Dean? 3 lakes.
Does it matter what order I say?
No.
Okay. Lake Superior, Michigan, and Huron.
Lake Superior, Lake Victoria, the Aral Sea. You got 1 right for 10. In September 1951, the United States guaranteed to protect this nation against outside aggression. Dave?
South Korea?
Is not right. Sorry, it cost you 5. It's an interrupt. Let me get you the rest of the question. But the military alliance was abrogated in 1986 after the Reagan administration failed to persuade Prime Minister Lange to allow U.S. nuclear warships to dock there. For 10 points, what is this English-speaking nation?
New Zealand.
New Zealand for 10. You got it. Okay, Gremlins, here's a possible 30 points for you. The Treaty of Paris ended the American Revolution. For 15 points each, which treaty first divided the Carolingian Empire into 3 parts? Time is up. Dean? I'll have to have an answer.
Treaty of Versailles.
Treaty of Verdun. Second, created an independent state of the Vatican City in 1929. Ooh, it's that obscure. There's the buzzer. It was the Lateran Treaty. The buzzer has sounded. The game is over. Houghton wins it 210 to 170. Copper Kings, I know how disappointed you are. It was such a close game. You started slowly and you came on like gangbusters there in the second half. Just one question the other way and you would have won. Well, that's the way the game goes, unfortunately. You played a terrific game here this week, however. 2 of you, Carrie and Karen, you're going to be back next year. We'll see you then. And Dave and Dan, good luck in the future. Houghton, you survived a real scare there. I thought, when they got going there, I thought you were goners for a minute. But you came in, you got that important question when things were very close, and that's what did it for you. So, you've got some experience. You'll be coming back in the second round to play the winner of our next week's game. Congratulations again. We'll see you when you return. And we hope you'll join us next week when Grand Marais meets Hancock on High School Bowl. And until then, this is a thoroughly wrung-out Dave Goldsmith reminding you that nothing you learn is ever wasted.
All questions used in High School Bowl competition are researched and authenticated by the magazine editorial research department of Time Incorporated. The preceding program was produced through the facilities of WNMU TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television. High School Bowl was created by Don Reed.